And welcome back to this half hour of the news at 4. The Idaho legislature returned to session today. They called themselves back to session after 5 months off.
The House Business Committee is taking up 8 different bills, pushing back on vaccine mandates. Our Andrew Bartline was in that committee meeting today. Andrew, what discussions and public comment have we heard?
Yeah, so these 8 bills that are under discussion right now in the House Business Committee all push back or oppose vaccine mandates. And representatives have actually pointed out, representatives on the committee, that not all of these bills align perfectly. They actually contradict each other at certain points. So what they're doing right now in their discussion is trying to figure out what specific language they like from what bill, in their words, to best protect Idahoans. Public testimony unanimously opposed these vaccine mandates, and personal stories painted a color as to why. One of those was a Micron employee who says he's losing his job this week because while his religious exemption was accepted, his accommodation is 6 months of unpaid leave. He tells us once his company has high enough vaccination rates, then he will be allowed to return to work. But in the meantime, he's left exploring other options.
Financially wise, we're okay, so I've got some time to think some things through on what it is I'd like to do. I've looked at getting more certifications and potentially doing some more schooling and taking some time to do that. I've looked at temporary work. I've gone around a handful of businesses around town and just asked them if they needed any help and if they'd be accommodating to somebody who could potentially be called back to work at any point.
Now, he was one of many people who had testimony that was very supportive with the direction of these bills, and the committee actually lost patience at times because representatives had to continuously remind people, the public, in their testimony to keep comments directed narrowly at the specific language of the bill at hand, and that did not happen, which has made this process very, very long. The first House Bill 410 that was under discussion, was being discussed for more than 2 hours because testimony was broad and not very specific. Now, it sounds like there is discussion that the House is supposed to meet back at 5 o'clock. However, they could push that back further, have a recess so the House Business Committee can continue this discussion on these bills and get through them because, like we said, the first one took 2 hours and there's 8 on the list, so there's a lot to get to.
So speaking of that long process, any idea how many days this is going to take? Andrew, what are they talking about there on the State House? How long is it going to be?
I mean, I don't know if anything's been adjusted because of what we've seen today with like the House Business Committee specifically. I did hear people say that they're hoping this is going to last 3 days, but I mean, 2 hours to discuss one bill, I imagine that probably wasn't budgeted in the timeline. So I think it's up in the air at this point.
Yeah. I think you're probably right if I were a betting woman. All right, Andrew Bartline live from the State House. Thank you.